Oh, hello and welcome to a North Wales side-by-side video. Yep, once again we're in the car. I'm making my way home. Work is over for another night. Right, two things in this video. Mirrors. I've had two new mirrors fitted to the car today, under warranty. Free of charge, both fitted. Got to Premier this morning at 10 o'clock. By 10:30 I'm leaving. Two brand new mirrors, covered under the warranty. So I'm happy they've done the mirrors. That was a result. It was an issue Toyota have never seen before, so that's a new one on them and it's a new one on me. I've never had a power mirror fail in all the cars I've had with power mirrors. So there we go. If yours fail, like mine did, like you'll see in a previous video, just go to Toyota, tell them the seals have failed on the mirrors, and if they query it with you, just send them to my videos and say, look, it's already been done on North Wales side-by-side, Yaris GR Sport, and there'll be a record of it on Toyota's system somewhere. Secondly, my next job of the day was a favour for a friend. He was working today and he had his 2006 Toyota Prius booked in for an MOT and he couldn't get it there. So he asked me, would I take it for its MOT for him? He left the money in the glove box and he said, it's booked in, take it down to Lee in Talabon Garage in Llandolus. Lee knows it's coming. He says the 40 quid's in the glove, just drop it off with him and drop it back at my house when you've got the paperwork. So, but I found something out very interesting today. A hybrid car will never ever fail an emissions test. Never. You can take any hybrid car in for an MOT with the most knackered engine on the planet, smoking, knackered, goosed, 500,000 miles, whatever, and you could be totally worn out and it won't fail the emissions test. And it's quite simple. They do not check hybrids for emissions. They're not legislated under MOT rules to test a hybrid. So they will not be checking your car for any emissions at all. They do all the usual checks, lights, wipers, put the car up on the pit, go underneath it, check bearings, check CV gaiters, do all the usual MOT stuff, check for corrosion, but they do not test for emissions. I'd heard a rumour that was the case. I had asked MOT testers in the past, how do you test a hybrid for emissions? Not one of them would ever tell me. Nobody would actually give me a definitive answer. But today, it's the first time I've ever taken a hybrid for an MOT. I found out why today. They don't have to. It's not law, and they've got no way of checking them for emissions. When I get to the next lay-by, it'll become quite obvious why. Because what you're going to notice is, the moment I stop the engine turns off, but I'll show you what it comes up with on the dashboard if you do actually try and rev the engine up. It's not like a normal car where you can sit there blipping the throttle and bouncing it off the rev limiter. If you touch the throttle in one of these hybrids, it comes up with a message on the dashboard, which I'm going to show you, and the engine just sits at idle, and you can floor it and the revs will not increase. So it's impossible for them to do an emissions check. Lay-by's coming up now and I'll show you. So let me park in the lay-by and I'll show you what messages come up. Let's grab the camera. In fact, I'll do it on the big screen. Let's go energy screen. Right. The car is now sat idling. Petrol engine is here. Electric motor's there. Hybrid battery there. There is no transfer of power anywhere at the moment. Car's not using electric and it's not using any petrol. So let's get my torch so you can see I'm actually going to put my foot on the throttle. There's the throttle and the brake. There's my foot. I've got my foot floored. The engine has started. And all it says on the centre console is accelerator pressed. I don't know if you can hear the engine. All it's doing is idling like it would do as if you just started the car up in the morning. So let's go back to the centre screen and I'm going to take my foot off the throttle. It instantly turns the engine back off. You cannot get one of these engines to rev to the required revs to do an emissions test. I could sit here all night going and blipping that throttle. See, all it'll do is start up, idle and cut out. You cannot do an emissions test on a hybrid. It's impossible. So our government have just said don't even test them. That's the reason why they can't test them. They can't get the engine to run at the required RPM to test them. Daft, isn't it? When these things have been designed to be low emissions, for the engine only to run as and when required. So it's absolutely crazy. You could go to Ireland and buy a Yaris with a 6-speed manual gearbox, which has got the 1.5 3-cylinder under the bonnet, same engine as they put in the hybrids, slightly differently tuned admittedly, but it's still the same 1.5 3-cylinder. But the 1.5 3-cylinder with a 6-speed manual gearbox, that will be tested for emissions. Hybrid, 1.5 3-cylinder, no emissions tests. Yep, that's what they've legislated. So no hybrid will ever be checked. The crazy rules that are British motoring, it doesn't make any sense, does it? We're still burning petrol, we're still creating emissions, but the bonus is you can create whatever emissions you like and you can't fail the MOT. So does that now mean, because they don't check them for emissions, you could got the petrol particulate filter, destroy it, just have the canister, got the cat, destroy the insides of the cat, just keep the canister, put your exhaust back together, have no petrol particulates filter, have no catalytic converters on the car? They're not to know. You could be chucking Cyclone B out of the exhaust pipe. You could be chucking uranium nuclear waste out of the exhaust pipe. And they're not going to know because they don't check hybrids. Simple as. They can't check them. They're not legislated to, so they don't. Just thought I'd give you that little bit of information and let you know you're never ever going to fail an MOT on emissions in a hybrid. Thank you very much for watching the video. Please consider liking, please consider subscribing.